Operation Dudula is accused of targeting foreign nationals receiving medical attention at Jeppe Clinic in Johannesburg. A number of civil society organizations and human rights groups have called on the National Department of Health to act against the alleged discrimination of non-South Africans at public health facilities. For more on this, we speak to the Associate Professor and Director of the African Center for Migration and Society at Wits University, Professor Vearey. Prof, just for your note and to our viewers to note that we did reach out to the Department of Health in Gauteng. They directed us to the city of Johannesburg's MMC for Health, and they've made it known that they will comment after getting a full report on this, perhaps tomorrow. And so when we begin with exactly what happened, what do you know?
We've had reports last week of Operation Dudula turning away individuals assumed to be foreign nationals from Jeppe Clinic, which, as I'm sure you're all aware, is a primary healthcare clinic in the city of Johannesburg. Obviously, we don't have much more information than that, so we do have to be careful around what conclusions we can draw. But it does seem from all accounts that this is the same concern that we have seen played out multiple times, with foreign nationals being targeted when reaching public healthcare facilities.
The collective Voices Against Xenophobia believes that migrants have been made scapegoats for a public health system in crisis. Is this something you're able to speak to?
So we've seen over previous years, this is a repetitive issue, and we have seen previously very concerning statements from different government officials at different spheres of governance who are using the fact that we have foreign nationals who have the right to access primary healthcare clinics and using those individuals as scapegoats for other challenges within the healthcare system. So making suggestions that the system is overburdened by foreign nationals and using that as a reason to justify why the state's provision of public healthcare services are struggling. But we have no data to support that idea. But with political leaders using this rhetoric, it is obviously fueling anti-foreigner sentiments within the main population.
Prof, I do beg your pardon, but if I heard you correctly, did you say there's no data to support whether foreign nationals are burdening the healthcare system in South Africa?
Yes, the data we have generated through different research projects over the last sort of 10, 15 years does not suggest that foreign nationals present an undue burden on the public healthcare system. In fact, the public healthcare system itself is designed to ensure that we should have equitable access for everyone who is entitled to access care living in the country, which includes foreign nationals. And so we have to be very careful when we're hearing this rhetoric suggesting that the numbers of foreign nationals are the reason that the healthcare system is struggling. There is just no data, there is no evidence to support that idea.
In fact, collective Voices Against Xenophobia is sounding the alarm to say that there are particular viruses that move across borders. They have no holds barred. So something like TB, for instance, COVID-19, for instance. And so if people are not able to get access to health care, then it will also be everyday South Africans that will be impacted in trying to address the issue of equal access to health care.
Yeah, I mean, we live in a region that has a high communicable disease burden, particularly around tuberculosis, malaria, HIV, more recently thinking about COVID. And we therefore need a regional response. And an effective and efficient regional response is about ensuring across the whole SADC region that anybody who is in any country can access timeliest care, testing, treatment and support. We know that if this care is disrupted, it is going to have negative impacts, not only for the individual who's directly affected, but for the wider population. And we need to be sure to put this at the forefront of our interventions moving forward. One of the reasons that the region is struggling with, for example, tuberculosis, is because continuity of care across international borders is very limited. So we need to recognize the regional reach of these issues and ensure that we have a regional response.
Prof, South Africa is not the exception to the rule when it comes to this issue of migrants. We're seeing in the UK a court case playing itself out where the High Court granted the government the order for illegal migrants to be redirected to Rwanda, but the illegal migrants are fighting back, and so that process is still in the courts. But we're not the exception to the rule. Worldwide, this is happening. In South Africa, though, in particular, when you take a look at the dynamics, what do you perceive is at the heart of us not getting the issue right?
I mean, I think first and foremost, we do have to acknowledge the importance of positive political leadership. When we sit in a context where ministers of health or ministers of home affairs or other people in central government, but also local level government, whether we're thinking about ward councillors or the municipalities, the city of Johannesburg, for example, we need these individuals to ensure that they are reflecting reality and they're reflecting data and they're reflecting evidence, that they are using existing legal frameworks and that they are talking to those correctly. The concern at the moment is that whilst we have people in positions of power, in positions of leadership, who are misrepresenting facts from the ground, that is fueling the increasing anti-foreigner and xenophobic sentiments that we see nationally. And really we have to acknowledge that this lack of leadership affects everyone in the country. This isn't simply an issue about who is being able to access public healthcare facilities or not. It's also about who is regulating these spaces, who is holding organizations such as Operation Dudula to account, where is local law enforcement, and so forth. So this is about a symptom of a much, much bigger issue around border governance and immigration within the country and the region.
Professor Jo Vearey, thank you very much for your time. Wits African Center for Migration and Society Associate Professor and Director. And just to reiterate, we did reach out to the relevant authorities, the Department of Health in Gauteng, redirecting us to the city of Johannesburg's MMC for Health. They've indicated that they will give a report back once they receive a full report of exactly what happened. We're hoping to give you those details and give them a right to reply in the coming days here on the channel.